Hi, I'm Hannah. Welcome back to my channel, Mostly Paper Crafts. Today I'm going to be sharing a bunch of Halloween cards I made using Lawn Fawn stamps and dies. I didn't know that I was going to make a video when I started this project, so you're going to see just some photos here at the beginning of my coloring progress. So even when I'm not making videos, I do love to take pictures because I love to see how things unfold. So you can see I've got all of these half sheets of stamped images. They're half sheets so that they would fit into my Misty and I could get clear stamping. I was very happy with how all of my coloring came out. Of course, I used some white gel pen on the little bits where I went outside of the lines, but overall, I was so excited to turn all of these beautiful Lawn Fawn images into some sweet and spooky Halloween cards. You can see some of those details here, and I did not use coordinating dies for all of these. I've got my trusty scan and cut here, although I do have coordinating dies for a lot of them. Scan and cut was definitely way to go for this volume.
So I actually used 14 different stamp sets from Lawn Fawn, and I also used dies from 16 different sets, and it ended up being 193 colored images that I used on my cards. I am not going to go through all of the die sets, and I decided this morning if I didn't get this recorded today, it just wasn't going to happen. So here we are. These are all of the colored images that were left over, and without any further ado, here are my 20 Lawn Fawn Halloween cards. Here's card number 1. With the most recent release, I was very excited about the spooky tree backdrop, which you're going to see in my first few cards here. I think it's really great for setting the scene. And before I started coloring and cutting out my images, I did spend some time making some backgrounds. So you're going to see some nighttime backgrounds with some ink blending and some splatters. I really like that this backdrop, like the other Lawn Fawn backdrops, can be paired with the frame. I think that does a nice finishing touch there. And we've got our little ghost bat with the bats. Here's number 2, again with those spooky trees. This time I used a black frame. We've got a few bats here, one of the new big bats and some of the small bats. Another one of those ink blended backgrounds there. And we've got some bugs mixed in. Card number 3, more spooky trees and another ink blended background. This moon is actually just a piece of patterned paper that it had a very light pattern on it, and I did a little ink blending around the edge, and I just used a circle punch for that. But I kept this one very simple. I've got our little ghost coming up, sentiments on the inside, happy haunting, and I just really liked the simple way that this one came out. I've got one more spooky tree background for you. This one has glitter, of course, and I added a bunch of other glitter details to our sweet little trick-or-treat foxes here and the little chicks. I liked this new moon that I got this release. Did some ink blending there, and you can see even though all 4 of these cards use those spooky trees, I set them all up a little bit differently. Moving into card number 5, you can see I used this hill backdrop there. I went ahead and used that for my next card, paired again with that outside frame. And this time we've got the cute little puppies. And I love these puppies because there's a bunch of different costumes to choose from. You can dress them up however you want. I've got more ink blending in the background, and this is a dark green cardstock, and I did add some light green Distress ink just to add a little bit more interest there. I think it looks like the moonlight shining down on our cute little pups. Another trick-or-treat scene for card number 6. I really like this older stamp with that haunted house, and that haunted sound is just my little puppy yawning. But we've got those cute little chicks again. I thought that they were the right size to go with this house. We've got a stitched hill in the background, more ink blending in the background, and I think this little ghost here is just the perfect finishing touch. Well, I colored 2 of these houses. So for the next card, I paired it with the Trick or Treat foxes, and you can see this little cutout here. That's actually from the new Shadow Box add-on. I can't remember what it's called, but it's got the cute little cobwebs there. And I did create a Shadow Box card that I won't include in this video, but I really liked this just on the front of an A2 card. I'm using that frame again around the outside, but mostly keeping this nice and simple. I gave my little foxes some candy and they are ready for some trick-or-treating. Oh, I liked the way that this cobweb cutout turned out so well that I did use it on a couple more cards. So more trick-or-treating. I've got the little mummy kid with a whole big pile of candy. And you can see this curvy hill here. That's actually left over from when I cut out this stitched hillside. So nothing goes to waste if it looks like it's still useful in my craft room. Got the cute little cutout haunted house that came from the same Shadow Box add-on. And I didn't use a ton of dimension on most of these cards. I really like to keep them as flat as possible, but I did use some thin foam squares between a couple of these things and some thicker foam square behind my sentiment. All right, we've got one more card using that Shadow Box cobweb frame, and it's time to see our little witch kitties. So these little kitties are brewing up some fun. I love this cute sentiment that you're so special to me. This cat is sitting on a whole big stack of books. This one's pouring in the potion. We've got a couple things popped up here, and I added in some sequins as well as I used some clear embossing ink with glitter embossing powder just to give that some extra shine behind the cauldron. And the kitties are back for a couple more cards. I colored a bunch of those. This time they have a cauldron full of worms. And same sentiment, you're so special to me. This time I used some embossing powder from Brutus Monroe just for this word special, so it would match my glittery background here. This is the sparkle backdrop from Lawn Fawn, and also the scallop circle is from Lawn Fawn. We've got our little scene set on that watercolor wishes paper, and there's just a lot of cute little details here. I did add some stardust stickles for some glitter just to bring all the shine together on this fun card. And the last one with the cats, this is another Lawn Fawn border background die, and our kitties are still playing around with their cauldron. I love that that set has not only the potion bottles but also the books. I used a ton of those in my cards this time. We've got our poof sentiment, and that's all popped up. I just wanted this frame to be at an angle and give some more visual interest to the layout of this card. These letter dies are, of course, from Lawn Fawn as well, and lots of glittery details here. There's actually even some glitter on the bottom of those letters. It's kind of hard to pick that up in the camera, but lots of sparkle and shine on this card. I've got 9 more cards for you from this set. We're using the same backdrop here, but this time the bats and the candy corn steal the show. No glitter here, but I love the way that you can color this candy corn and really make it look dimensional. So for all of my coloring, I use Spectrum Noir markers, and a lot of the coloring was done with the tri-blends, which I love. It just makes it a little easier to have less markers out on my table. But I love to add shading, and I just think that these candy corns pop with that. We've got some watercolor wishes paper here. This striped paper is from another Lawn Fawn pack, and our sentiment is heat embossed. keeping it pretty simple, but I think that this card still packs a punch. My next card uses the same backdrop, but turned on its side. More bats and candy corn here, and plenty of glitter. So we've got Trick or Treat, hope your day is extra sweet. I love that. I love that I used the tiny little candy corns to go with this too, and added some more sparkly details with the Stardust stickles. You're seeing more of that ink blended background pre-work that I did before I started all my coloring. I think I made 20 different colored backgrounds, and I did blue and purple and some gray, and really just was a nice way to start my card making, since I wanted these all to be different and I didn't want it to take forever. So I did all my backgrounds first. I did a bunch of die cutting of the spooky trees and things like that first, and then the coloring and the cutting, and then came the assembly, which of course is the fun part. But another big bat. More candy corn. This bat is orange to go with our candy corn. We've also got some pumpkins and ghosts and that polka dot backdrop. I absolutely love that from Lawn Fawn. That's one I could use over and over and over again. The Enjoy die is also from Lawn Fawn, and we've got some Stardust stickles all over this. I know that color, Stardust Stickles, is very popular with card makers, and for good reason. It's just so pretty, and the sparkle is just something I want to use over and over again, and I feel like it works really well for Halloween cards. These big bats were one of my favorite stamp sets from the latest release, so you're going to see a couple more cards with them. Pairing the big bat with the little bat from Fantastic Friends, we've got more watercolor wishes paper and a scalloped square from Lawn Fawn here as well. More Stardust stickles and that fun saying, "Don't worry, be flappy." And this card, it's one of those little annoying things that happen while I was crafting, and no big deal. But this purple cardstock is textured, and when I stamped it the first time, I accidentally stamped on the wrong side of it. So no big deal. Flipped it over. Don't worry, be flappy. Flipped it over, stamped again, and then when I glued it down, I still glued down the wrong side. So this is the untextured side of the textured cardstock. Oh well. All right, we've got one more big bat, and I was just thinking about the layout of this card the whole time I was making all of the other ones. I really wanted to make a card that said everybody wants to be a bat. It's just a fun little pun here, and of course it's a play on everybody wants to be a cat from the Aristocats, but there were so many costumes in the different stamp sets that were bats, and then this little monster already had bat wings. I just knew I wanted to do everybody wants to be a bat. So we've got a bunch of our critters mixed up here. These dies are from Lawn Fawn. The rest of the sentiment I typed on my typewriter, and we've added some Stardust stickles just for some extra interest there. So everybody wants to be a bat. And I've got 4 more cards. All right, so we've got these cute little ghosts dressed up like Frankenstein and his bride, a little more Stardust stickles. This is a very simple card, but I've used a Lawn Fawn scalloped inside square. I honestly can't remember the names of all of these dies, especially the ones I've had for a long time, and I don't have affiliate links, so I'm sorry I don't know the name of it, but I'm sure if you searched on the Lawn Fawn site you could find it if it was something you're interested in. I've got a couple of different Lawn Fawn papers here as well. I really wanted to make a card for a friend who just got engaged, so I thought this would be cute. We've got a little die cut heart there, and nice and simple, just booyah. More ghosts for the next card. I was so excited to make this one too. So we've got Books. Yeah, so this is from one of the dog stamps. So it just said Boo, and he's howling. It was one of the little wiener dogs, but I thought it would be really fun if the ghosts had a bunch of books, and I had a bunch left over, so we've got Books. I wish I would have done my letters just a little bit different, but overall I was really happy with how this came out. I've got a stitched rectangle die here, and then just some panels that I cut to be sizes that were close and give them little borders. I don't know what the dimensions were, but I'm sure if you wanted to do a card like this, you would be able to figure that out. I just glued it onto a bigger panel and then used my paper trimmer to cut it down with a thin border. 2 more cards, and these ones both feature our monsters. So we've got Have a Spooktacular Halloween. I think of all the monsters, my favorite is the little one with wings, and he reminds me of that brownie character. There was a truck stop near where I grew up, and they had a frowny brownie that was their little mascot, and I always just thought it was really cute. And then I just remember a brownie with wings, and so I colored him brown, but otherwise I would have colored him another bright, fun color. I've got the brownie with wings in my head. So this one's nice and simple. Have a Spooktacular Halloween. Our characters are sandwiched between a couple of little die-cut trees. And the last card. All right, sending you monster hugs. We've got our little characters again. No frowny brownie with bat wings, because I use that on the bat card. Everybody wants to be a bat. But I love this quilted backdrop die. These frame dies are meant to be picture frames, and that is a Lawn Fawn set that I've had forever that doesn't get enough love. So when I was trying to think of my last card, pulled that out, popped your little monsters into there, and it's like they're hanging on a little wall. The background color for the photos is one of those ink blended backgrounds that I did, meant to be a night sky, but I think it turned out just fine here. I used craft cardstock for the frames just to kind of make it look more like wood. I meant to do some ink blending before I glued them together, but alas, I remembered once the glue was already down, so maybe next time we'll add some extra detail with that. But this is card number 20 for my 2023 Lawn Fawn Halloween series. Just taking one more quick flip through these cards. I hope that you got some ideas and inspiration from my crafting session. This took me a few weeks to get these all done. I wish I'd counted how many hours, but I didn't. I do have an Instagram channel where I post all of my cards individually. I do not maintain a blog, but the Instagram handle is What Hannah's Making. You can see all of these cards in more detail there. I don't have affiliate links, but if you do a search on the Lawn Fawn website for any of the details that you see, their search feature is very good. You will certainly be able to find what it is you're looking for. I had so much fun making all of these cards. I'm really glad that I used both the new and the old stamps and dies that I have. I absolutely love Halloween. This is a total blast, and I probably will do something like this for Halloween again next year.
Thank you so much for joining me for this inspiration video today. I hope you got some ideas that you can take and use on your own cards, whether they're for Halloween or whether they have Lawn Fawn stamps or not. The whole point of card making is having fun in the process and then passing those cards on to someone who will enjoy them. I'm getting ready for the Crop and Create card making event, so I've got stuff everywhere in my craft room. That's why I really needed to get this video done if it was going to happen at all. I hope to bring you a video with some of the projects I make from that event soon. And I hope that you can make some time to do some crafting yourself. Go make something beautiful.